Everybody in their grid positions. The green flag is now in the air.
Oh no, get him on, he makes a mistake! It's a free wide here in Salzburg, this is absolutely unbelievable!
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are joining me here at the Slovakia Ring on the starting grid for race number 2 of this weekend's event for the 2025 Eastern European TCR Championship. Of course, the title battle really hot at the moment, and the two main protagonists, Adam Kout and Martin Kadlecik, close together, not only in the standings, but also on the starting grid. Adam Kout scored a victory yesterday with Martin Kadlecik coming home second, which meant that Adam Kout extended his lead by further 7 points, but it's still only 9, and that is really, really close. However, thanks to the draw and reversing a number of positions, and it was actually Adam Kout whose job it was to pull a number out of a hat, he managed to pick out the number 8, which means that he's now falling on the grid all the way down to 8th, to the row number 4. And that also promoted some new names onto the front row and onto the pole position, because we've also got guest starters from the Croatian Championship. It is Luka Fabiancic with his Hyundai i30, promoted to pole position thanks to the reversing of top 8 positions. And we are here with Luka. Luka, you have a clear view in a nice weather. Is it going to be a pleasant Sunday drive? What are your expectations before the race?
It's my first race in this championship, so I'm just still learning. I don't have the pace of the other guys, but I will try to have a clean race, to learn as much as possible, and that's the plan.
Okay, thank you so much and enjoy it. Luka Fabiancic with his colleague from the Croatian Championship, Nemanja Milovanovic, on the other side of the front row. But we are going to go a little further. We have got a Croatian racer who is a usual part of our championship and has been already for a lot of years. And you will notice these iconic colors, of course, Euromarine and TCR Team Dubrovnik. Žarko Knego. Žarko, starting from P3 today. Yesterday wasn't the best race for you, unfortunately, because there was an off-track excursion, but today you are also very much towards the front of the field. So what are your expectations and hopes for this race?
Yeah, yesterday unfortunately I had this situation when I went off track. I fell on the last position, so had quite a hard time to overtake, and finally finished 6th. And today with the reverse grid I am 3rd, and as always expectations are high, and hopefully without any mistakes like yesterday. So we'll hope to have a good result.
And you have the pace. Also, some of the strong guys are really far back. Victory possible today?
We'll see. Everything is open, and I don't want to predict too much the position will be, but I'll fight as much as possible.
Thank you so much. Enjoy it. Have a good one. We're going to make our way to the other side of the row number 2. That is Yannick Motorsport's Hyundai Elantra. Basically 4 Hyundais in top 4 position. 2 different generations, 2 different models. And we have got Jiří Zbožínek on the other side, or the inside of row number 2. Jirka Zbožínek. Sorry for that. Yeah, we need to keep the driver cool. Very recently you scored your first podium. Now you are on the 2nd row. So another podium possible today?
So the plan for the race is be first on the first corner, and hopefully be fast, you know.
Enjoy it. Be first in the first corner. That's a bold move, and I believe that we are going to enjoy that. 5 minutes before the guys will be released into the formation lap. Row number 3, that is Petr Čížek in the Express Auto Racing team. His facelifted Cupra Leon. On the other side, we have got Bartosz Groszek starting in the colors of Aditis Racing. Yesterday, he was shadowing his teammate Martin Kadlecik in third, then overall in the race. And let's see if maybe any team orders and team helps could be in place. Bartosz, I remember your fights with Petr Semerad here a couple of years back for the title. Now you are in a little bit of a different situation. Is this race going to be about your result, or are you going to help your teammate?
I think we are playing a little bit team game, but at the end my result is also important. So we'll see after a couple corners how is the situation. If I'm in the front, I will just put my race. We'll see after the first corners.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. And on the other side, the other Aditis Racing's Audi, Martin Kadlecik. He was second on the road yesterday, didn't really quite have the pace to fight for the race lead, and he finished a couple of seconds down on the road. But today, the roles are reversed, and he is starting one place ahead of the championship leader, Adam Coate, 9 points between them. And because the number of races is getting reduced one by one, and we are really getting close to the season end, every point now counts. You are starting ahead of Adam Coate. So what are your hopes and plans for the race?
Yeah, of course, to get a good start. Try to stay ahead of Adam Coate and try to keep him behind the whole race. That's my main target. Of course, I would like to get a podium or fight for the win, but let's see what happens. I'll be happy to keep Adam behind.
Thank you. That's Martin Kadlecik, 3 minutes. Adam Coate, the championship leader, on the other side of row number 4, but we're going to have to go back and let's enjoy this title fight, which is getting closer and closer to its finale. And one of the answers will be found also in today's race. Let's enjoy it together. Vítek Smejkal, he was in an incident in yesterday's race. He was in a fight with Ivars Valers. However, there was a touch, there was a contact, and damage to the front right corner. Also, the stewards found Vítek Smejkal guilty, and that means that they handed him a 3-place grid drop penalty, which now, of course, means that Vítek Smejkal starts in 12th. For today's race, it is, as I mentioned, the duo from the Croatian Championship, Luka Fabiancic and Nemanja Milovanovic, alongside each other on the front row in their Hyundai i30s, the previous Hyundai's racing model. Behind them, the newer Elantras, first in the hands of Žarko Knego in third, and alongside him Jiří Zbožinek in the Janík Motorsport prepared car. Petr Čížek, P5, couple of podiums to his name this season, but still waiting for that win. And alongside him Bartosz Groszek in P6, Martin Kadlecík and Adam Kout, the championship leaders, alongside each other on row number 4. That should be a good one. Not only the fight between them, but also watching these two trying get through the field, possibly even onto podium positions. The start will be key as usual, and we're looking forward to that very much. Radoslav Obertal then in P9 in his Cupra Leon on row number 5, and alongside him the already mentioned Ivars Valers in the predominantly blue and yellow Audi RS3. There we had him. Bojan Milkovic in 11th. He had an incident in yesterday's race, but mechanics put a lot of work into repairing his Honda Civic, and that means that Bojan Milkovic is now on the starting grid. And then alongside him Vítek Smejkal in 12th in his Cupra Leon. He had nice fights yesterday. Definitely he'll be looking forward to some more, but ideally, of course, this time without an incident. Cars already on the formation lap, 5,922 meters. The sun is out, the weather is pleasant. Also, the temperature's nothing dramatic. I guess something rather ideal for the racing conditions. 18 degrees centigrade currently here in Slovakia. The wind blows also rather nicely, so it is a pleasant Sunday afternoon here in Slovakia. Eventful race yesterday, which saw Adam Kout score another victory. So far, he has won on every weekend this season. Well, once. Always the other race brought a different sort of result. There was also bad luck through the season, which means that although he has more victories to his name than Martin Kadlecík, the points difference is not so big, because Martin Kadlecík has so far managed a better result consistency, and he has been on the podium in every single race of the season, which of course is also definitely impressive statistic. We are now slowly making our way into the final sector of the track, which consists of 2 long straights and one never-ending right-hander, which also represents one of the greatest overtaking opportunities around this track. But of course the first one comes in the first corner, and then hard braking into corner number 3. There it is pretty much always given that we are bound to see something interesting, and we'll take the word of Jiří Zbožinek from our interview at the start. His attempt to be first in the first corner, that should be interesting. So let's see about that. Of course, the guest starters from the Croatian Championship rather tipped for having a difficult afternoon in terms of defending their positions at the head of the field, and of course with reversing of the top 8 positions, and generally with reversing any number of positions. This rule being brought into the world of touring car racing already long time ago to make things interesting for race number 2, and simply put the fastest drivers of the weekend somewhere a bit further down the field to increase overtaking during the race. Last checks whether everybody is perfectly fit in their starting slot. I do not see anyone overlapping the lines, which is good to see. Red lights are coming on, and the race 2 here in Slovakia is now underway. Immediately lots of sideways movements as everybody's trying to get the clear view into the first corner and gain positions. Martin Kadlecík all the way on the left hand side of your screen in his Audi, but it looks like it's Žarko Knego immediately into the race lead. But look at that, Martin Kadlecík immediately up to second contact which sends one of the I-30 spinning. That is the pole sitter Luka Fabiancic, who finds himself on the grass. Luckily was not collected by anyone, so can safely rejoin the race, but drops all the way down to the back of the field. We should have Jiří Zbožínek up in third, but what a start it was by Martin Kadlecik. Unbelievable stuff, and he's immediately fighting for the race lead. Martin Kadlecik into the race lead. Amazing stuff from P7 on the grid. By the time we reach the third corner, he is already your race leader. Wow! Martin Kadlecik, well, I'm not sure whether he tried this yesterday in the evening on the race simulator, but it went out perfectly in reality, and now he's your race leader. So Martin Kadlecik from Žarko Kněgo, who is currently in second, and then I see the Janík Motorsport prepared Elantra, but is it Jirka Zbožínek or is it already Adam Kout? I believe it's already Kout, yes. Adam Kout also made a fantastic getaway from 8th on the grid, so the championship leader up to third immediately, and he is now piling on pressure on Žarko Kněgo to try and snatch second from him, because he cannot allow Martin Kadlecik to get away with it too fast. And now there is the overtaking maneuver. Also Bartosz Groszek slotting in. He wants to help his teammate, so he needs to stay together with Kout, but Kout up to second. Oh, another really tight battle between them. And Groszek is through. So Žarko Kněgo now down to fourth, but Martin Kadlecik trying to run for it and get away from everybody else. This is Adam Kout already up to second. Then Bartosz Groszek up into third. As he mentioned in the interview right before the race, we're gonna have to see how the first corners and the first lap unfolds, and then we can start thinking about potential tactics. But I believe that the mission is now absolutely clear. Make as much pressure on Adam Kout and bring him into trouble so that he cannot focus on the race leader, Martin Kadlecik. What a start that was. Žarko Kněgo collected damage. The lower door panel, or let's say the lower floor panel on the left-hand side, I believe is hanging off his car right now. And flapping around, just like the other aero surfaces behind the left rear wheel. There is Jirka Zbožínek together with Petr Čížek. They are currently running 5th and 6th. Nemanja Milovanovic in 7th from Ivar Zvalers. Vítek Smejkal has made 3 positions and is up to 9th. Bojan Milkovic in 10th from Radoslav Obertal, and Luka Fabiancic, the pole sitter, all the way down at the back end of the field after the first corner, having been tagged and sent spinning. Luckily he stayed in correct direction, and even more luckily everybody else avoided him. That's always a very unpleasant situation and dangerous situation if you find yourself spinning and sideways in front of the entire pack. But there we go, fight for 5th. Petr Čížek making a move on Jiří Zbožínek, and he goes through. Hard under braking in the middle sector. Kadlecik still leading from Kout and Groszek, but Adam Kout showing a great pace, and he is already with the race leader. I think we should start focusing on the battle for the race lead, because it is really hotting up right now. Let's try and get back to that shot, because I saw Adam Kout already being extremely close to the race leader, and that one is for the championship, not only for the race victory but also of course for the championship. Adam Kout will try to get ahead of Martin Kadlecik, possibly already into the first corner. There they are. So slipstreaming has already ended, and Adam Kout trying to make a move around the outside. Hard on the braking they go, and Martin Kadlecik defending his position at least for now. But how about the exit? How about the exit? That's definitely very much important. It is Kout. Yes, he is through. Adam Kout is already through and into the race lead. So he made the switch back, exiting the first corner, and attacked Martin Kadlecik immediately once again. And it is now the championship leader in the first place in this race. Over the crest we go, but now Adam Koht is already gaining the crucial meters over Martin Kadlecik, preventing him from having another fight back, and that now means that it is the Yannick Motorsports Hyundai Elantra in the race lead with the championship leader behind the steering wheel. Martin Kadlecik will try and follow him as much as he can, but he wasn't really as fast as the Elantra yesterday, struggling for pace a tiny little bit. Needs to say that, or needs to be said that the long and sweeping Slovakian corners do really fit the Elantra, which is really at home here in terms of the driving characteristics. There is Martin Kadlecik, fantastic start from him. He tried everything he could to get into the lead as soon as possible, and he reached that by third corner. Amazing stuff. However, Adam Koht was also not just hanging around and waiting for everybody to go by. He started overtaking just as aggressively, launched his own rocket ship into the second position very quickly, and then reeled in the race leader Martin Kadlecik and made an successful overtaking attempt. The first one was successfully defended by Kadlecik, but that opened the door on the exit of the first corner and invited Adam Koht in. So there we go, after 2 laps, positions in the top 3, same like yesterday. Koht leading from Kadlecik and Grošek. Žarko Knego currently in 4th from Petr Čížek, Jiří Zbožínek, Nemanja Milovanovic still in 7th from Ivar Svalers and Vít Smejkal. And it's Obertal, Fabiancic and Milkovic. It's hard to believe that we are only 7 minutes into this race. So much has already happened. That was a big hit that we heard from the ambient microphones. Not really sure what that was. Ooh, and we've got a problem for one of the Aditys Racing Audis. I believe that might be Grošek, who went wide in the third corner. There it is. Bartosz Grošek outbraked himself and allowed Žarko Knego into the podium positions. Bartosz Grošek making a mistake into third and falling to 4th place. Žarko Knego still with damage to the left-hand side of his car. Not really visible from this angle, but if we manage to look at the Elantra more from the front view, then you'll see that the lower floor panel on the left-hand side is still flapping around, potentially even, well, not, it cannot be in the contact with the tire, but there we go. Further fighting here. This is Jiří Zbožínek in trouble. Nemanja Milovanovic putting pressure on the Czech driver with the older model from Hyundai. Zbožínek currently shaking it off. Adam Koht has already managed to extend his lead to nearly 3 seconds across the line. Really showing superior performance. His fastest lap of the race, just under 2 minutes and 12 seconds, 2:11.998. In fact, previous lap time pretty much similar to that, only half a tenth slower than that. On contrary, the Aditys Racing Audi is lapping at over 2:13, 2:13.2 for Kadlecik, 2:39 for Žarko Knego. and 2:16.6 for Bartosz Groszek, of course the other Adidas Racing's Audi. He had that lap definitely affected by the mistake in the third corner. Jarko Knego, of course, not Adidas Racing's driver, but he's now in between them. Cížek is also close to Groszek, still staying in the mix, and potential fight for third and for a podium. Well, there were 9 points between Kolt and Kadlecik, but if we also already include the points for qualifying, then it was extra 4 points for Adam Kolt and 1 point for Martin Kadlecik, which then means that right now in the table it is 149 points for Adam Kolt, 137 for Martin Kadlecik, which brings the entire gap even higher up to 12 points for now, and with another potential victory on the hands of Adam Kolt, this could now lead to even a 19-point difference between the two championship protagonists. And we also have to wait and see who scores the extra point for the fastest lap of the race, also being awarded in the Eastern European TCR. Jarko Knego still waiting for a podium finish this season. He was fourth twice in Austria at the Salzburg Ring. He was fifth in the first race at Red Bull Ring, and then he scored a couple of sixth place finishes in Most and yesterday here in Slovakia. Still waiting for his first podium of the season, but currently running third. Behind him, Bartosz Groszek. Groszek has already been on the podium 5 times this year, 3 times second and 2 times third. And then also fighting for today's podium, we still have to consider Petr Cížek, who is directly behind these two. He has already been on the podium at home in Most, where he was second and scored 18 points. Fourth yesterday. And so far we have had 3 different winners in 2025. 4 times Adam Kolt, 2 times Martin Kadlecik, and once also Giacomo Germandi, who is not racing with us this weekend, making a recovery after a lot of hits and an injury last time out in Most. Jarko Knego still defending hard. Bartosz Groszek trying to find his way through. The Adidas Racing Audi is not exactly at the optimum of their performance this weekend. Struggling for pace a little bit. see just how hard Bartosz Groszek is trying. He's really not leaving a single millimeter anywhere, and basically kicking up dust in every single corner, trying to cut the corners as much as legally possible. Now coming really close through the final corner. This puts him in a good position for the start and finish straight. He can use the slipstream. The straight is really long here in Slovakia, so he'll try to gain speed. However, the Elantras are really quick here in Slovakia. Just having a tiny little look into the first corner, maybe forcing Knego into a bit of a less than optimal racing line through the first corner, just to get another chance over the crest through the second corner and then into the braking zone of corner number 3. Groszek still staying in the slipstream, being really close. He's been like that for some time already, but is he gonna make the dive? No, Žarko Knego moving on the inside, but Groszek then choosing the outside line, finding enough grip, and there he goes through. Bartosz Groszek back up to 3rd, having undone his mistake from exactly the same corner from a couple of laps back, and moves himself back into the podium position. But in the meantime, the race leaders have already disappeared. Colt, after 7 laps, leading by nearly 5 seconds over Kadlecik. Kadlecik having another 7 seconds over the other drivers behind him. They've now switched places. It is Groszek in 3rd, Knego in 4th, and Petr Čížek still looking hungry for more. And he is getting closer and closer, chipping away at it, and removing a 10th by 10th behind the 2 cars that he sees right in front of himself. Zbožínek has fallen behind Milovanovic in the meantime. Valers 8th from Smejkal. Obertal has dealt with Milkovic, who then dropped to the back of the field, currently trailing Fabiancic by more than 15 seconds. Six and a half minutes left on the clock, and the fight for 3rd still very much open. Currently the podium position firmly in the hands of Bartosz Groszek, who's trying to get away from the other 2 drivers, and adding a 10th by 10th as well. Žarko Knego rather falling into the clutches of Petr Čížek. There we go, getting ready for a fight. Now really deep in the left-hander, missing the apex, but then sort of double apexing his way out of the corner. So saved the line in the end. I believe that he went a little deeper than he really wanted. Bartosz Groszek touching the brakes slightly halfway through the last corner. back onto the start and finish straight. Adam Colt leading by nearly 6 seconds now over Kadlecik, who then has another 8 seconds, or more than 8 seconds, to his teammate. There is the race leader. 4.5 minutes left in this race, a couple of laps from home. And Adam Colt is now starting to strongly look for a first weekend with a double victory. He won the first race, the opening race of the season, at Red Bull Ring, then the second race at Salzburg Ring, then second race in Most as well. And here in Slovakia, back onto the top step of the podium for the Saturday's race, and now potentially even doubling the victory on the same weekend, having started 8th. Which would then make for a perfect sweep of the entire weekend. Fastest in quali, fastest in race number 1, and currently finding no match in race number 2. Adam Colt this year also racing the facelifted and updated Elantra with the slightly different headlamps. You may see the difference in comparison to the car of Žarko Knego. Also, few little new aerodynamic surfaces here and there on the car. So a couple of subtle modifications to the Elantra. Božinek definitely not satisfied with his position and definitely not happy about falling behind Milovanovic. So they are now getting tangled back in the fight of their own for P6. Božinek tried it a couple of times to squeeze his car on the inside line, but Milovanovic really remained glued to it, not allowing any space whatsoever, as Božinek had to try and find his way around the outside, but was not so successful. This is the race leader, Adam Colt, the car number 68. There he is. 1 minute 15 right now. So still about to get another lap in this race. Around the final corner, back into the start and finish straight, and on to the final one in today's race. 11 laps down, 1 to go. Adam Colt being absolutely faultless today. And generally across the entire weekend, which started with only a 2-point difference between him and Martin Kadlecik, but with steady progress and faultless results, Adam Colt is about to see the gap grow to 19 points, and basically because it is still him holding the fastest lap of the race and the lap times already dropped down significantly since the start, it will be also +1 extra point for the fastest lap of the race. And that should mean a 20-point lead over his nearest challenger. It's still not the end of the season. We still have 2 more rounds to go, one in a couple of weeks' time in Brno, and then one at the end of September in Hungary at the Balaton Park. Adam Colt already making his way into the final sector of the entire race. It's been a dominant weekend for the Czech driver, and he has found no match for the pace that he's presented. Yesterday he was formally warned for standing slightly outside his starting position on the grid. But today he's showing everyone that he knows full well where his spot is, where his place is, and that will be on the top step podium yet again. Adam Colt already coming back onto the finish straight and across the line to score a double victory in Slovakia. First weekend of 2025 with the same winner in both races, and it is the championship leader Adam Colt victorious both in qualifying or both of the races. Adam Colt taking a clean sweep of the Slovakian weekend. Martin Kadlecik coming home second. It was a great start and an opening lap. What a move that was. He really did what he could, but in the end he simply didn't have the speed, didn't have the pace to match the Elantra of Yannick Motorsport. He tried whatever he could, however he's coming home second on the road. It's another great result. Martin Kadlecik thus keeps his record of podiums in every single race of the season, so that consistency is absolutely unmatched in this year's championship. However, points are what matters in the championship, and we have to face the facts. Martin Kadlecik currently has 20 fewer than this man, Adam Colt, and with that they're gonna go for the final 2 rounds of the championship to Brno and to Balaton Park. Bartosz Groszek finishing third on the road in his Audi RS3, with Žarko Knego coming across the line in fourth from 5th placed Petr Čížek. Jiří Zbožínek in the end found his way through and around Nemanja Milovanovic, so snatched 6th from his hands. Vít Smejkal finishing 8th. Ivars Valers for some reason fell down the order to 11th. Bojan Milkovic 1 lap down in 12th, and the pole sitter Luka Fabiancic coming across the line in 10th behind 9th placed Radoslav Obertal. That's it from Eastern European TCR from its fourth round out of 6 in the 2025 story. And we are about to see the second GT sprint in just a couple of minutes. But until then, for now, it is a very warm goodbye.
Everybody in their grid positions. The green flag is now in the air.
Oh no, Germandi makes a mistake. It's a free wide here, Salzburg. This is absolutely unbelievable. Come on!
do that. Goal.